Hello, my name is Jeffrey Bennett, and for the Field Leadership Project, I interviewed two professionals currently working within aerospace engineering. The purpose of these interviews was to learn how leadership is practiced in aerospace engineering, find ways students can prepare, and connect the real world experiences within engineering to the concepts we've learned within this course. For my interviewees, I interviewed Tom Billings, a project engineer at Honeybee Robotics, and Jimmy Williams, a test engineering at Boeing. Both of them provided valuable insights regarding mentorship, leadership, preparing to be an engineer, and common challenges that engineers face. For slide 3, I pick question 1. How is leadership defined in practice? This is a very strong question and revealed a lot of important themes. One of the strongest themes was that leadership goes far beyond management positions. Tom Billings explained how leadership was about coordinating projects, helping teammates, and supporting them in solving problems. Jimmy described leadership as taking ownership, managing risk, and ensuring that your goals come to fruition. What stood out to me is that neither engineer described a leader as their boss or their manager, and instead they saw leadership as something that is practiced through communication and responsibility. And this connects to the textbook statement that leadership has to do with relationships, the role of which cannot be overstated. Leadership is inherently a relational, communal process, and this is important because engineering projects are hardly ever completed by one person, and that they must collaborate with professionals from all types of disciplines. So leadership becomes necessary at every level rather than only managers. Question 2. What role does mentorship play? Tom explained that mentors helped him learn faster, avoid common mistakes that new engineers would frequently make, and understand the industry expectations within the field. Jimmy explained how mentors taught him things that could not be learned from a classroom or from a textbook and only from experiences. And this is important because both of them saw mentorship not as just instructing someone or teaching them, but rather developing them professionally and how to teaching them how to communicate and understand the expectations of them that they might not know. And this demonstrates how leadership and developing it occurs through relationships, and learning from experienced professionals will allow you to grow and engineers to grow more quickly and be more confident. For this question, what is the most challenging relational leadership component? This question was very insightful because it described how leadership concepts become difficult to apply in real world engineering environments. Tom identified inclusivity as the most challenging component. He described how within the aerospace projects he was involved in, they had very strict deadlines and a heavy workload. And he described how he would appreciate diverse perspectives and including a lot of different people, but the time management would make it difficult to do so. Jimmy just identified empowerment as the most challenging component. He described how in testing, the requirements relating to safety are very strict. So empowering someone to work autonomously could be quite dangerous. And this connects to the relational leadership model, which includes purposeful, inclusive, empowering, ethical, and process oriented leadership, because both interviewees demonstrated effective leadership is about balancing these priorities rather than just applying stuff that you learn from textbooks in terms of leadership. Diversity in aerospace engineering. Tom Billings' discussion of inclusivity really made me think about the role of diversity in aerospace engineering. Aerospace projects require mechanical engineers, software engineers, electrical engineers, and a lot of different professionals working together. So diverse perspectives are extremely valuable. One of my biggest takeaways from these interviews that was diversity extends beyond demographics, but also includes expertise, experiences, and approaches to problems. Tom described that diverse perspectives led to stronger outcomes because Despite everyone being involved in decision making, he saw the specialized people would form their own groups to make decisions, so therefore there wouldn't be a lot of conflict. And this reflects inclusive leadership, where leaders value and understand diverse perspectives. And as discussed in the textbook, inclusive leadership encourages leaders to involve multiple viewpoints when addressing challenges, similarly to how Tom explained. For this question, how can students prepare for success in engineering? When discussing preparation for aerospace engineering careers, both of the interviewees really emphasized practical experience. Tom recommended joining engineering organizations, pursuing research opportunities, and joining design teams. Jimmy kind of emphasized a lot of the same things, including networking, internships, and mostly career fairs he saw as very valuable. And their recommendations were a little bit different, but they both emphasize that classroom learning is not enough for being an engineer. Because employers want evidence that students can really do what they say they can. They want actual proof that they can work well in engineering projects and apply what they have learned. And this is meaningful to me because it reinforced the importance of the time I have at USF. Similarities and differences. Both engineers highlighted practical experiences, mentorship, teamwork, communication, and leadership beyond just managers. However, there are differences. A lot of Tom's interview consisted of talking about project coordination and inclusivity, which highlighted the collaborative nature of project engineering. On the other hand, Jimmy described testing, compliance, and safety, and describing the accountability of an engineer and the responsibilities. And these differences show that leadership can look different depending on what your role is, but a lot of the underlying principles, such as communication, still stand. Reflection. Overall, these interviews expanded my understanding of leadership within aerospace engineering. Both interviewees described leadership as a process rather than a role, and it's something that you can practice through communication, collaboration, and responsibility. And I also gained a greater appreciation for some of the mentors I've had in my life, specifically within aerospace clubs at USF, who have made me feel comfortable. And it's good to see a lot of these same themes in professional application. Moving forward, I plan to build professional relationships, seek mentorship, participate in engineering organizations, and pursue hands-on experience that can lead to an internship. Here's my works cited. Thank you for watching.